excited to announce this amazing partnership with ICC-ES to increase environmental transparency in the built environment and to bring together design and construction stakeholders to put more high-performance products into projects together. Today, I'm honored to have as a guest on our webinar, David Tompos, the EVP of Conformity Assessment at International Code Council, and me to tell you about this strategic collaboration that we have embarked on. And so today we're going to cover, David will do an overview of ICC-ES and a deep dive into what are evaluation service reports, a new acronym, ESRs. He'll speak about why ICC-ES and Sustainable Minds, lay out our goals and what the collaboration is. And then I'll take over, and for those of you unfamiliar with Sustainable Minds, I'll give you an overview of our products and services, do a little bit of a deep dive on our PCR, LCA, EPD delivery services, and then an overview of the transparency catalog, benefits for manufacturers and for AECOs. And I'll talk quickly about how we are already starting to integrate ESRs into the transparency catalog, and then we'll lay out some opportunities for you as participants to take next steps in engaging with either of our organizations. So at any time, feel free to put questions in the questions panel. We'll either take them during the webinar or someone will follow up with you later to get your questions answered. There will be a recording made available to you in the next couple of days. You can also request the deck. And as you exit, there's a short survey. There's some questions we invite you to take a moment to respond to that will help us out, potentially help you out. So without further ado, I'm going to move forward. So these are the two quotes that David and I provided for the press release, the announcement about this collaboration. And really, transparency, product transparency has reached such a level in the built environment that most professionals, I'm going to go out on a limb here, most building construction professionals today are aware of the need to reduce carbon, use healthier materials, and of course, products and materials have always needed to be safe. And David underscores this sentiment as we both are looking to support manufacturers, that manufacturers are looking for ways to demonstrate and document not only higher performing, lower impact, healthier and safer products and materials, they need the documentation to demonstrate that. And by bringing that documentation together in one place and making it easy for manufacturers to create that documentation in a streamlined way is going to help move the needle on the mission that both of our companies are on, which is to improve the built environment and lessen the impacts on human health and the natural environment. So David, I'm going to turn it over to you to tell us about you and ICC-ES.
All right, Terry, thank you so much. I really want to thank you for inviting me today and having me for this webinar, and really excited about our partnership here moving forward. Just a little bit about myself very quickly. Again, David Tompos from the International Code Council. I am the Executive Vice President of the Conformity Assessment Group. I have a background in computer and electrical engineering from Purdue University. I joined ICC about, it's been just over 6 years, and I've been over the Conformity Assessment Group for just over 1.5 years. But I come from many years of conformity assessment, doing product testing, inspections out in the field, audits at different manufacturing plants. And I currently oops, if I can get the slides to go. So I want to start out by just talking at a high level about the International Code Council. And I think most of the people on this call have some familiarity with the International Code Council. We are a not-for-profit organization of about, I think we have over 700 employees now. But we are a membership organization. So we have about 50 to 60,000 members all over the United States and around the world. Most of those members are building officials. We have members in over 25 different countries. We have over 400 chapters. And the building codes that we write are adopted in over 100 different jurisdictions around the world. So, and that is what we're known for most, is developing the model building codes. So we facilitate an open and transparent way to develop the building codes. Those then get adopted by different jurisdictions. They can get modified a little bit by the different jurisdictions, but they're the basis for the building codes in the United States and several countries around the world. One of the other things that ICC does is a lot of training. So we have a whole training division. We help our members with education. We also do certifications on a individual level for different specialties, you know, from different disciplines in the building industry. And we also try to provide a number of other tools to support the building industry. We are much bigger than just you know, writing building codes. We have a number of different subsidiaries underneath the International Code Council, doing everything from product testing, certification, inspections. We do accreditations for laboratories and different processes in the industry. We have a codification group that works with different local jurisdictions to codify their different rules, local rules. We work in the offsite construction industry. We also have consultants and design engineers on staff. So just a little bit of ICC, just a broader picture. But our overall vision is creating safe, affordable, and sustainable buildings and communities. So all of these subsidiaries work together to try to make that happen. So I oversee a group that we refer to as a conformity assessment group, primarily consisting of the ICC-ES and ICC-NTA. And we have a number of different services in that group. The testing, inspection, and certification, that's primarily our ICC-ES group, and I'll get into more details on that in a minute. But some of the things that you may not know that we do, we also do plan review. We work with local jurisdictions. A lot of times this is to do plan review for permitting. And a lot of times it's projects that are outside of the jurisdiction scope, or they have overflow, or they're just backed up and they need help. So we will come in and help them with different plan review. We have a whole division that does offsite construction. So we're approved by 40 different states in the United States. We essentially act as the jurisdiction's eyes and ears out in the manufacturing facilities. Offsite construction has been something that's been growing drastically over the last several years, and we're seeing a lot of big builders start to come into offsite construction, seeing it as a way to help with the labor shortage they have and the cost of construction. You can think about it as, you know, the only way for us really to kind of move the needle on affordability in construction is to bring the manufacturing of homes into the factory, build homes more like we build cell phones as opposed to one-off projects. Some of the other new features or new services that we provide are our market research. It's a new service we're providing to our manufacturers to help them get a a better picture from consumers and potentially from builders and their thoughts on their different products. We also have a new service that we're calling our Global Concierge Program. So this is a program, we have manufacturers that come to us with new innovative products, and they don't want to just import into the United States. They want to send their product and get compliance in multiple countries around the world. And we work with a number of different third-party certification agencies to be that single point of contact for our manufacturers so that they can distribute those products all around the world. All right, so I'm going to drill down a little bit into the testing, inspection, and certification. So as I mentioned, this is our ICC-ES division, and we do product testing. We have a couple different laboratories, two up here in Indiana that mostly do structural testing. We also have a large-scale fire testing laboratory down in Central Texas. And the most common product that we're offering to our manufacturers is what we call our evaluation service reports, or ESRs. And the reason that a manufacturer comes to us is because the building code, you know, if you're familiar with it, you know, it's about a 3-inch thick document that covers a lot of different things, but it can't cover everything. And we have manufacturers that come to us that are producing these innovative products that the code does not address yet. So we have a open, transparent process to create criteria to come up with a way to make sure that we can help the manufacturers present to the building officials that their product meets the intent of the code. So the building code gives provisions that allow building officials to accept different products in different ways, but one of those ways is to use an approved source. And ICC-ES is one of the most trusted sources in the building industry for doing this work. So just kind of walking you through the whole process, we'll have a manufacturer that come to this, and these are products, you know, when I say innovative, I'm talking about again, things that aren't addressed in the building code. So they're usually newer products, but it could range anything from structurally insulated panels to composite materials used for cladding or even decking, adhesives, fasteners. Anything that's not addressed specifically in the building code would be something that we would potentially evaluate. So they come to us with these products. We then look at that product and do an evaluation, and we come up with what we call an acceptance criteria. And I usually can equate these to like a PCR in the transparency report world, but this defines how we're going to evaluate that type of product. And we have committees, we have public comments where we go out and we put together this criteria. Once that's done, we then, based on that criteria, we'll use our testing laboratories to test the products, evaluate them. You know, and these could be the durability of the product, the fire resistance of the product, structural capacity of the product. So all these different features and attributes that we're measuring to make sure that that product is going to meet the intent of the building code. Once we've collected all that data, we then put together an evaluation report. And this is just an example of what a sample report looks like here. So these reports are then used, the manufacturer, once they have that, we publish it on our website. They will give that out to you know, design professionals to be able to be used for specifying in projects. So this report potentially becomes part of the design package. The manufacturers, obviously, once that product is on site, the building official, the code officials out in the field, they can scan these QR codes to make sure that that report is relevant. There's all kinds of information in here that describe how that product needs to get used, and I'll go to the next slide that gives a little more detail on all the information that are in these reports. But we break down our reports similarly to the way Sustainable Minds does with their transparency reports, where it's broken down by CSI division, the type of product. We go into and explain exactly which code versions that the product is good for. We have a section that talks about all the uses of that product and describing how that product can get used. One of the most important things on here is conditions of use, and I'm usually preaching to building officials, explaining to them to make sure that they look at this so they know exactly how that product can be used and how it should be installed. Some of the other things that we go into are the submitted evidence. And building officials a lot of times will call us up wanting to review some of the data that we used to evaluate the report, and they want to see that as evidence. So we do have resources that allow these building officials to call us and ask questions about reports, and we'll give them all the information they need to understand how these products meet the building code. And finally, there's going to be in a section about identification. So it'll talk about the number that goes onto the product, and then the ES logo, so that you can identify that it's an actual approved certified product. So why are we partnering with Sustainable Minds? I think the bottom line here is that ES and Sustainable Minds have an aligned mission. We want to try to get innovative, high performance, safe products into projects. And we realize that we serve the same stakeholders. We kind of compared notes on our clients and our stakeholders, and there's a huge overlap. One of the things that I recognize in business is that you cannot be an expert in everything. We've spent a lot of time looking at this industry. I'm absolutely convinced that transparency reports are going to be huge demand going forward. I think it's going to be just as critical as showing code compliance in the building industry moving forward. You can say what you want about the current administration. I think it's just has slowed us down to some degree, but I don't think it's going to stop this train that we're seeing, and it's going to become a much more in-demand product. And what I'm trying to do is come up with a way, essentially an easy button for my manufacturers. They work with us with the code compliance, and I see Sustainable Minds as being a leader in this industry, especially when it comes to building products, being the best in class. And that's what we want to be able to offer to our manufacturers to make sure they can have that easy path to get all of the information that they need on their innovative products. So just talking a little bit about our joint goals, trying to get all of that information in one place so that specifiers, building officials, the code compliance, the life cycle analysis, the material health is all in one place and easily accessed. All of this information in that one place is what drives decisions for these products. And so that's really where we're going. Again, like I said, we've reviewed a lot of different companies that provide this. I think Sustainable Minds is that one-stop shop that can do from PCR to LCA all the way to the final transparency report, and they do an amazing job doing that. So some of the details, and we're still working out some of these details as this is a new relationship, but we are going to as we have clients that come to us and look for EPDs, LCAs and PCRs, we are using Sustainable Minds as our preferred program operator going forward. And some of the things that I think are going to help in build this ecosystem of data is our ESRs are going to be accessible through the transparency catalog. The other thing that we're going to do is link in our ESR reports, link to the manufacturer's transparency catalog listing so that there's easy access to all of that information. And vice versa, we're going to see links from the transparency reports back to the individual ESRs. And I've kind of touched on a lot of this, but you know, I see huge benefits having easier access. And as I mentioned before, sustainable mines being best in class, that's what we want to bring to our manufacturers. Having all these EPDs and ESRs in one place so they're easily accessible. And then our relationship with the building officials. You know, there are not many jurisdictions at this point. There are a few that are requiring the LCAs, California being one of them. That's usually the start, and it's going to, you know, we will see it in other jurisdictions. I think it'll be beneficial with our training and our relationships that we have with local code officials. I think that's going to help our manufacturers immensely get accepted into different jurisdictions. And then, you know, bottom line, we want to make sure that we're helping bring more innovative products, safer and more resilient and lower carbon buildings. You know, so our mission, you know, this is the 1 + 1 = 3 here with our two organizations coming together. So Terry, I think I covered everything on my end. I think I'll hand it off to you and you can talk a little bit more about sustainable mines.
Well, thank you very much, David. That was a great introduction. And as you know, I am fascinated now by all of the services that ICC-ES delivers and what evaluation service reports are and contain. And I'm very excited about the integration of that kind of information and all the ways we can do it. So for those of you who are new to sustainable mines, we are the only end-to-end product transparency solution provider for building product manufacturers today. And we get your products into projects and libraries. So I'm going to unbundle that whole story right now. So the only end-to-end product transparency solutions provider. So if you're a building product manufacturer looking to start or continue on your transparency journey, everything you need, we do and deliver. So we are a program operator, we develop product category rules, we publish environmental product declarations, we deliver life cycle assessment services, we deliver material ingredient assessment services, we can train people in your organization to do it as well, and deliver education across your organization for people to get on the same page about product transparency and transparency reporting. And then we have an array of digital and virtual tools to get products into projects. And as David pointed out, our missions are aligned to help transform the built environment. What makes us different from any other program operator is that we are a for-profit, mission-driven technology company. I founded the company in 2007, built the first streamlined LCA tool for just any kind of product manufacturer to understand the life cycle impacts and early stage design to literally design greener products from the start. We have always integrated the thinking of product transparency into product marketing so that manufacturers can really tell credible stories about what they're doing to improve the environmental performance and material health of their products to credibly create preference and value for their brands. So this just gives you a snapshot of the end-to-end. We actually created the first two-part PCR program for North America in 2014. We built and maintained the PCR catalog for North America. It gets updated several times a month to keep track of all the PCRs that are current, expired, in development, organized by master format. Our transparency report is an EPD. It's a different kind of EPD. We designed it and first published it with our amazing manufacturing partner, Toto, also a big innovator, to integrate product transparency with product marketing and include all of the information somebody would need to make a decision about a product. It's always been digital. It's always been delivered in the cloud and in PDF. And we were the first and possibly still the only program operator who delivers our EPDs also in the EC3 tool. So we deliver a digital EPD in the EC3 tool. So it's online as a web page, it's in a PDF that's downloadable, and it's in the EC3 tool. And the transparency catalog, and now with Project Builder, has become the leading source of high performance building construction products and materials that meet carbon impact and material health goals. So building product manufacturers and industry associations can choose to work with us on just part of their transparency journey or on the entire thing. And so this just shows you an example of a range of industry associations whose only role is to create a product category rule. They might also publish an industry average EPD or EPDs like we've done with the Natural Stone Institute. Some building product manufacturers sponsor and lead the development of product category rules like Toto and Cascadia. Some building product manufacturers work with us only to activate their listings in the transparency catalog to make sure their products with all their transparency information get in front of and selected and specified and procured by the most targeted and most motivated AECOs in the industry. I'd like to throw in this kind of educational concept because David touched on it earlier, which is that product transparency is really all about performance, that environmental performance and material health are attributes of high performance building, as is safety. And so it makes sense to be able to connect these high performance attributes with safe and code compliancy to, again, make it easier for manufacturers making innovative products that have all these attributes to be able to be found, selected, specified, and procured by the most motivated AECOs in the industry. So a little bit about each of our products and services. Back in 2022, we co-led the development of the ACLCA PCR open standard. As I mentioned, we launched our program operator business in 2014 through the kind of growth curve of PCR and EPD development from 2017 to 2021-ish, and more program operators showing up. The need for standardization of how PCRs get created really became quite obvious, particularly as states and local governments, the federal government, were really looking hard at using EPDs for procurement purposes. So a core team of folks worked for 2 years to publish this new PCR open standard for the purpose of standardizing and making consistent and reliable PCRs, because only from good PCRs can you get reliable, standardized, consistent EPDs. We were the first program operator to update our technical program to be conformant with the open standard, and very quickly published 6 new PCRs for plumbing products, and have since published, I have another slide with a count, 6 or 8 more PCRs that are open standard conformant. Oh, here we go. So, when we became a program operator, there kind of early days, still not a lot of PCRs getting published. Now, we are frequently being sought out to bid on PCRs that other program operators did originally, but are not pursuing another version of, or just industry associations and manufacturers showing up saying, all right, it's time, we need a PCR because our members or our constituents need to be able to publish EPDs. So we've got a lot of PCRs going on, and you might see this one stand out specifically. We were hired by the Canadian government to do a PCR for combat vehicles. That's because the Canadian government requires carbon information on high value things that they purchase. They actually selected us because our program is open standard compliant. So it is not just a building construction industry thing. People understand the value of standardized high quality PCRs to publish high quality EPDs. And in the North American building construction catalog for PCRs, we've added a column to track which PCRs are being published that are conformant to the open standard, and you can see that when you go to the catalog. So our transparency reports, they are EPDs. Let me emphasize that they are Type 2 environmental declarations. ISO 14025 says a program operator can call their declarations anything they like. And so we called ours transparency report because it has a lot more information about products than just the required information as laid out in 14025. And so because EPDs are full of technical information, we not only wanted to combine the product marketing content to help people make decisions about products, but also to make the LCA information understandable by regular people like salespeople and everyone in the building construction industry who is not an LCA practitioner. We have published and have formats for plant and product specific transparency reports, industry average, as well as optimized. And unlike other program operators, our optimized transparency report includes both the EPD and the optimization report. So it's not two separate documents. You can find all that information all in one place. Also, when we first created the transparency report, we did an audit of global EPDs and kind of asked the question, like, why are some 40 pages long? Why are some 10 pages long? Why are they all different? And if we were going to help people use an EPD to make decisions, we opted to create a standardized format so that anybody could look at a transparency report and find the same information in the same place. So again, some really common similarities to the ESRs, some overlapping content, and really content that goes well together for people making decisions about products. Here on the performance dashboard on the front page of a transparency report, we actually list and link to other certifications and rating systems. And this is where we will link to the ESR for the manufacturer. The ICC logo will go here, and the link to the ESRs will go there as well. And of course, we are working on our digital EPD for those manufacturers who maybe have many EPDs to publish and a lot of variations on a product. And that is an offering that will be available in 2026. So now let's talk about the reason manufacturers have spent the money and time, taken the risk to invest in EPDs and material disclosures and ESRs is to get products into projects. So we launched the transparency catalog in 2016, took a risk and thought, geez, if we really want to transform the built environment and help people find those higher performing, lower impact, healthier products and materials, what if we created a catalog that only included those manufacturers, so anywhere in the world making products for the North American market, who have invested in EPDs or material disclosures, and only their products with EPDs and material disclosures, all organized by master format, because we also understood that it's unlikely products get into projects if they don't get into the spec. So since 2016, we really have been able to amass a very specific and targeted set of users, and I'm really proud of this kind of third-party validation. This is the third year in a row where we have really great stats, comparable stats, as reported by Engineering News Record. Every October, they publish their top 100 green design firms and top 100 green contractors. And for now 3 years in a row, practically every single one of ENR's top 5 green by sector use the transparency catalog. 80% of the top 25 and 70% of the top 50 combined use the transparency catalog. And what's interesting is when a user sets up a free account, so the transparency catalog is free to use, you don't need an account. You do need an account to export a spreadsheet and do a couple other things, but you don't need an account. But for those that do set up accounts to take advantage of the additional functionality, we ask them to profile their businesses so we have a sense of who's using the catalog. And so it's very interesting to know that more than 80% of people from organizations who use the catalog identified that they deliver services other than sustainable design, which tells us that high performance building is mainstream. Everybody is looking for product transparency documents, even if they're not doing what's called sustainable design. So in the last few years, we have introduced the transparency catalog now with Project Builder and Library to make low carbon and healthy material selection accessible to all project teams, whether they're knowledgeable about embodied carbon, yes or no, or how to select healthy materials. We've made that really simple and easy to do. So for building product manufacturers, not in addition to getting their products or your products in front of this highly motivated audience, we've really combined the benefits of 3 categories of tools that building product manufacturers use today to get products into projects. So high performance product platforms, selection and specification tools, and construction intelligence and insight reports. So the transparency catalog is a high performance product catalog. Project Builder Library is a selection and specification tool. And we have an array of analytics available today. And next year, we'll be making available an additional analytics dashboard to building product manufacturers where you'll be able to see which organizations are adding your high performance products to their projects, where are those organizations located, where's the project located. You can set the date range, and you'll be able to get this information in the earliest stages of a project where you could actually influence the specification versus other construction intelligence solutions where that data is made available when the project has been put out to bid. Now, I will say this information will not include people's names or email addresses. There is still no private information about users, but we've tested this with many building product manufacturers, and the response has been, we don't need that. if we know the name of the firm and we know the location of the firm or the project, we know who to call on, or we'll figure it out. This is information not available anywhere else. So who is the transparency catalog for? If you're a building product manufacturer, just to reiterate, if you're making products and materials for the North American market, it doesn't matter where you're located, as long as they're available here, and you've invested in EPDs, material ingredient disclosures, and now we've added all the low emitting certificates with the intent to grow your business in the high performance building construction industry, especially if you have innovative products and materials. It's really one of the things that we specialize in, is helping to get visibility for new brands or for brands bringing new products to market. In any of the master format sections, that product can be selected and specified in, and right alongside the major brands in the industry. So today there's over 2,300 manufacturers and industry associations across 28 master format divisions, almost 1,000 sections. We've actually been reducing the number of sections to make it a little bit more comparable in terms of how products get positioned. And we include all the EPDs from North American program operators. They're tagged to be product specific, industry average, or optimized. We have also the material ingredient disclosures from the leading material health programs. And as I mentioned, we're in the process of adding all the low emitting certificates from this range of data partners. And one of the things that I want to emphasize, and we've started talking about this recently, is that we only do what we refer to as ethical data sourcing. All of our data partners, we have data agreements with. They provide us the data either in a spreadsheet or through API. We don't and have never used AI bots to scrape another website, and particularly without that owner's knowledge. And we attribute back to the provider of the content that the content was provided by them. And actually, we always link back to the provider of that certificate on their websites. So at the core of the transparency catalog is a manufacturer's activated listing. We have this unique product table design where it's a matrix. So the horizontal axis is the master format section, and the vertical axis is the name of the product. And we link to the manufacturer's product page on their website. And then we correlate the transparency documents that they have for that product to that product. So if they have EPDs, we're telling you about the EPD in that column. We link to the EPD. We give you some information about its scope and regionality, the expiration date. We link directly to the digital EPD in EC3, and we provide the comparative embodied carbon result as displayed in EC3. We also, if the manufacturer has material ingredient disclosures, we correlate those, and we tell you, the user, what the result of that disclosure is. Now that we've added the low emitting certificates, this column says material ingredient and low emitting, and if there are low emitting certificates for that product, we add the same thing, the link to the low emitting certificate, who the provider is, and the expiration date. As of 2 weeks ago, we added links to ICC's ESR library to all of the manufacturers in the transparency catalog who also have ESR reports. So this is step one. People can come to the manufacturer's listing, find all the transparency information, and also go directly to the ICC-ES ESR library and grab those documents. We will also be working on a much more integrated approach where access directly to those documents for each of these products will become integrated into the product table. This is a quick snapshot of some of the analytics we provide manufacturers when they activate their listing. We not only provide you the analytics about the traction and visibility that your brand is getting, but we also provide all of the information about every other brand in the catalog as well. So you can look up and see how are your competitors doing relative to you. You can look and see, geez, do they have EPDs for the same products that we have, but we don't? Are those EPDs getting accessed on a regular basis? We have a whole range of reports, but this was one way, again, going back to being a mission-based company, how to transform the built environment. One way to help do that is to create competition. So people can see, are their products being sought out because of the transparency documentation made available for those products, yes or no? The annual subscription for the transparency catalog includes not only the listing and the analytics, but your own customer success representative. Nobody touches the data except us at Sustainable Minds because it's a curated data set. So we do all of the content collection and update and formatting for you. We offer sales training. We promote your products via social media and your listing. And we also have an amazing webinar series that gets a lot of visibility to promote the manufacturers, to tell their stories about why they've invested in transparency, what types of transparency have they invested in, and to give some case studies about how they have improved not only their facilities, their products, and what it's like to actually work with them on a lot of these products that are product service systems. We've done more than 60 of these webinars in the last, I don't know, 7, 8 years since we launched the catalog. And it's incredible to see and learn about what these manufacturers, large and small, are doing to improve the environmental performance and material health of their products. Lastly, a quick overview of the transparency catalog now with Project Builder Library. And this is the question that we start every discussion with an AECO firm. Are you trying to standardize high performance material selection in your organization with this commitment that we are making low carbon and healthy material selection accessible to all project teams? It's pretty important that organizations understand that it's not just a tool problem. It's a nascent field of software that's evolving. It's a unique set of requirements because it's not just knowledge and data. It's specification, it's measurement, it's reporting, it's all of these things now rolled up into a whole bunch of new stuff people need to be able and willing to do, so it becomes a cultural and organizational choice about, is the organization ready? And then can we identify the highest value problems that we can help them address with our solution to move them in the direction of measurable business value while they try to standardize high performance material selection. So the transparency catalog with Project Builder Library is the only collaborative solution for creating a digital knowledge base of products and materials that meet carbon impact and human health goals. And it is our unique value proposition that we make the transparency information easy to use and understand, and not just easy to find. It's kind of the natural evolution of the transparency catalog. We've designed it over the last 7 years with hundreds of participants from the manufacturing and AECO side to allow organizations to collaboratively capture knowledge in the form of libraries, projects, templates, according to their own selection criteria. And we are providing live, up-to-date product and transparency content. Quick examples of how we've made the data in the transparency documents easy to use through, in this case, You can find the lowest embodied carbon materials based on the data that we bring in through EC3. You can set that criteria as you start your search and only see products that are that align with other EPDs in the industry at the low to high end of the carbon threshold. Same thing on the material side. We show the result of the material disclosure so people can filter and search by the disclosure types they prefer and the results that they're looking for that again meet their selection criteria. We are a mindful materials technology partner, and what that means for us is that we have now classified all of the sustainability documents in what's called the Common Materials Framework, which is a framework for organizing sustainability documents into categories of what those documents are disclosing. And so now most of the rating systems, like LEED and WELL and others, have signed on to create their credits in those rating systems for material selection to be reported by the CMF. And it was originated at the AIA in their materials pledge working group. And so most of the people using Project Builder and Library today are architecture firms who have signed that AIA materials pledge, who have said, we are going to publicly disclose what percentage of products we're using on our projects in any given year that have EPDs and material disclosures and low emitting certificates and others. So what we've done, we have automatically classified all of the documents, all the transparency documents associated with a product, so that when users add products to a project, they can track if those products have transparency documents. We've also made it possible for project teams to add any manufacturer, even if they don't have transparency documents. And we've built in the tools for project teams to be able to contact us to, for example, for manufacturers with a free listing, which only has transparency documents but no product information. They can contact us to contact the manufacturer to encourage them to activate that listing because they need product information. People don't specify disclosures, they specify products with disclosures. And this is particularly interesting because people are adding products from past projects that don't have transparency information, but they wish that those products did. And so they're asking us to contact those manufacturers to create transparency information. And we can tell them, hey, people are adding your products to projects. You don't have EPDs or material disclosures, but guess what? We can help you with that. And then we can get your products and your transparency documents into the catalog and into high-performing projects for high-performing building projects. So in summary, it's a knowledge base for all materials, not just high-performance materials. And that is our overarching strategy for how we are working to mainstream high-performance materials into building projects across the industry today, and make it easy for project teams to audit and substitute and use high-performance materials. So to wrap up, on behalf of David and me, thank you for spending the time with us today. We encourage you, if you're a building product manufacturer, create ESRs and product transparency documents. Consider activating your transparency catalog listing. If you are an architect, engineer, contractor, or owner, we strongly encourage you to select, specify, and procure low carbon, healthy, and safe products and materials. And code officials who are now starting to look at high performance and attributes beyond code compliance to use the transparency catalog to find and approve innovative, high performance, and code compliant products. And if I didn't mention this earlier, one of the things that really is just a huge benefit for us to partner with ICC is to raise the visibility of the transparency catalog to their tens of thousands of members, to bring more traffic to the catalog to find the manufacturers that are there who have invested in product transparency documentation. So we do have a couple, 1 or 2 minutes for Q&A. On the way out, I mentioned earlier, there's a short survey. If you don't mind leaving your comments, but you can also leave any other questions that you didn't have a chance to ask. The questions that a few of you have sent in, some very compelling but complicated questions. So the appropriate party will follow up with you to get those questions answered. And really, I think if we have time for one question, actually, all of them are equally complicated. So we'll follow up with you one-on-one to get those answered. And I think one that isn't complicated that came in, someone was very intrigued, David, with the third-party plan review services. And I've had people ask me about that as well. Can you give a quick update on how would somebody access those third-party services?
Yeah, so we brand that service through ICC. And if you would just go to Google and search ICC plan review, it should come up with a web link. And there's a portal there that allows you to go in. You can define your project, and I believe there's a calculator on there to give you a quote instantly to show what it may cost to do that plan review. But again, we work with both local jurisdictions and engineering and architectural firms because they've found that when ICC does a review of those plans, it can, even if it's not directly with the jurisdiction, it will help speed up the permitting process with those jurisdictions.
Yeah, that is super valuable, and I'm glad we're talking about it because I think more people will want to avail themselves of that. There is something new about the transparency catalog that we haven't really started promoting that highly, but a couple of manufacturers who are here on the webinar who are transparency catalog customers have pointed out that it is really important that we have added the low emitting certificates to the catalog. So now EPDs, material disclosures, and low emitting certificates are the top 3 transparency documents most requested and most utilized in material selection and LEED and other rating system credits. So it has been a ton of work to put together the data partnerships with all of those providers and to start adding those to the catalog. We will very likely, we're going to see that probably 500 or more new manufacturers will be added to the catalog who have low emitting certificates but have not yet invested in EPDs or material disclosures. So we're super excited to kind of add that wave of content and now the ESRs, which really just make such a rich mix of product data available. Again, free, no login, anybody can use it and find that stuff. So David, thank you so much for choosing us. We're really excited about everything that we've already started to do and looking forward to just doing a whole lot more of that.
Well, I really appreciate you inviting me today, and I'm very excited about our partnership and seeing how we can continue to help manufacturers get these safe, innovative products into the market. So thank you.
And thank you everyone who stayed until the end, and we look forward to seeing you at our next webinar. Have a great day.